Solo para que tengan una pequeña idea de lo que significaba Guillermo para nosotros los hondureños, pues podríamos comentarles que Guillermo ha sido uno de los hijos prodigios de nuestra tierra, no solo por el gran legado cultural, musical que nos dejó y por ser uno de los embajadores culturales más representativos de nuestra patria, sino también por su calidad humana, que para los que tuvimos la dicha de conocerles, pues tocó la vida de todos y cada uno de nosotros. Esa paz que emanaba, hacíamos gracias con doña Patricia de lo pacífico que era, que lo llevaba al extremo, al punto de sacar siempre de quicio él lo contaba de manera general a su familia, a su esposa, a sus hijas. Pero era esa paz que él emanaba, su personalidad, lo que lo hizo muy especial entre nosotros los hondureños. Para seguir pues con nuestro programa, me gustaría darle la bienvenida al embajador Ramón Custodio, embajador de Honduras en Alemania, quien se va a dirigir a ustedes. Lo recibimos con gusto.
Everybody speaks English here, so I'm just going to do it in English because I want Mark to hear what I have to say. No, I really, it is important to me. It's important to me that he understands every single word I say. Guillermo gave me a call one day. No, the other way around. I gave Guillermo a phone call one day in 2015. And I told him that my dream was for him to sing here. And he goes, "It has always been my dream to come to Berlin." And then it just so happens that during his stay at my house, we were very good friends. And he stayed at my house, and we had many hours to converse, to talk, to think about life. And he said, I never thought that my dream was actually going to come true. And it did. And you made it possible, Mark. You made it possible because he was extremely grateful that you gave him that opportunity. Because nobody was opening the door for me here in Berlin on such a short notice, because everything is full, everything is complicated, and like the Germans, that's a problem. The Germans say that's a problem. But Mark, you made him happy. And really, next to Mark is also Dr. Flores Bermudez. He's not here today, but his wife Adriana is. And they met at the first concert that he ever gave in Germany, here at the ICD. And Dr. Flores Bermudez said, I would like to give you an opportunity to sing over at the Bayer building over on Friedrichstrasse, I believe. Mühlstrasse. And I don't speak German. So thank you. Thank you for that. But anyways, he took him there. I wanted to be there, but my government sent me on a foreign trip to Croatia. It's not my jurisdiction, but those were my instructions, so I missed that formidable concert that he gave there. When he asked me to help out, he knew why. And that's the reason why we're here today. But to me, it was very difficult not to tell the complete truth as to why he was here. That was one of the hardest things that I've ever had to deal with in my life. Because when people die, sometimes they die and you don't have to deal with that secret for a long time like I did, and I couldn't say anything because that was his wish. And I respect it. Guillermo had different moments in his life. He was the most charismatic, the most Christian guy that I ever met in my life. He was friends with people from the top, people from the middle class, and especially with the poor. And especially with the Garifuna community, which is a small group of people that live in the Caribbean coast of Honduras. And that's where he got his beat. And when he was here last year at the concert, he looked at the ambassador of Jamaica and said, "And my music has always been influenced by Jamaican music as well." So, yes, Mark, he was a big man. Yes, you're right. To me, I apologize, Ambassador, but to me he was the best. I know you guys have Bob Marley, but we have Guillermo Anderson. He was a very polyphacetic man, extremely polyphacetic. He could speak about politics, he could speak about Christianity, he could speak about love, hate, he could speak about any topic. He was the most well-read man I've ever met in my life. And yes, he was extremely humble. He had many different stages of life. He had the stage of when he used to study in school. Then he had the stage of his university years in California. And then he had the stage of trying to make it in this very hard industry. And especially for a Latino, especially for a young man from Honduras, he had all the qualifications to be one of the best singers, the most famous singers worldwide. But it's a very hard industry. But nevertheless, he touched the hearts of millions of people all over the world, as he did me, and as he did every single member of my family. I remember the first time I met him. Back in the early 90s, he was helping our cardinal so that we could have debt relief in our country. And it was the HIPIC initiative. And that is the Highly Indebted Poor Country Initiative. We didn't want any more debt, but we wanted for the World Bank, International Monetary Fund, the IADB in Washington, D.C. to say, enough. You have already paid enough money. Our cardinal didn't know much about economy. He studied economy, and he became the most important expert in economy. And some of the loans that we had paid them already like 5 times over, because we continued to be paying the interest and the interest and the interest. So there was an alliance between our cardinal and Guillermo Anderson. Guillermo Anderson was going with the cardinal all over the world, giving concerts so that they could promote the idea that we needed debt relief. And he did it by himself, and he did it out of his own free will, and he did it because he believed that our country needed that and that it was enough. So the man was also a very political man. He made a statement with his help and with his fight for the cause. I met him in front of Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C., in one of those first concerts for debt relief. And you should have seen that. It was something like apoteósico. It was unbelievable. It was in the mall, in the middle where there's a green grass, and he was on one side, and it was hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people that were cheering. Don't take my word for it. I have the pictures. I took the pictures. I remember that day. People were so happy. They were screaming. They were yelling. They were saying everything that they could, the thing that first comes to their mind. So basically, we had Guillermo, the studious boy in elementary and high school. Guillermo, the one that found early in his life as to what he wanted to become, a musician. Guillermo, the one that fought for an opportunity, and he got the opportunity at one of those very prestigious universities in California. We have Guillermo, the one that made political statement. But political statement not for the establishment. No, no, no. He made a political statement about truth, honesty, and hard work. That's what he was all about. To be part of his life was very important to me. And on the last evening that I had with him here in Berlin, we were in my balcony smoking Honduran cigars. And by the way, he knew he shouldn't have smoked cigars. But he said, I want a damn cigar. You give me one or I'll grab it. So I said, okay, hey. My dad is right. You know, we're only here on a temporary basis, so you do what you want. And that's exactly what he did. So I had the longest conversation ever in my life with him. We were there from literally 8 o'clock, somewhere between 7:50 and 8 o'clock at night, until the following morning with another visitor that was visiting me at the time. And his name is J.P. Carroll. Now he's one of the most famous newspaper writers in Washington, D.C. Young, 26-year-old boy. Man. And we were there until literally 7 o'clock in the morning. He gave me a lot of testimonies of his life and what he wanted to do. And I was committed to help him. But the most he was almost giving up. But when Mark, right here, made the proposal to be part of the ICD, it was like a recharge of battery, and it was like a reborn man. And I don't know, it was a different man. It was a Guillermo Anderson, yes. But after that offer, he became a completely different man. I am sure I'm not a doctor, not a scientist, and I don't care to be one. I leave that to Dr. Flores Bermudez, who actually works for Bayer here in Germany. But I have a feeling, and I believe in that you gave him a little bit of more oxygen so that he could keep on fighting for a little while longer. And thank you. Last but not least, I would like to express my most sincere gratitude to Mark for being the man that he is, and to the ICD for what it really is. I would like to also thank Mrs. Patricia Espinosa. I'm sorry, Nestrosa. It's his fault. Mexico. It's Mexico's fault. I was thinking about Patricia Espinosa because I saw you. But thank you for coming all the way from Rome, for being committed. Mrs. Patricia Espinosa is Inestrosa, I'm sorry. Yeah. She was and is the representative of Guillermo Anderson here in Europe. She works for Vatican Radio. And her parents are very dear friends of my parents. And not only that friendship is here today, uniting us, but also Guillermo brought us back together after many years. Thank you to all of you for being here tonight. Ambassador of Jamaica, thank you. You have been here through thick and thin. To the newly appointed Chargé d'Affaires of Mexico, thank you for being here. And I know that you found it within your heart to be here with us. And I know that you feel, after our conversation this afternoon. But also to the Embassy of Bolivia, we're very united. We're very grateful that you're here. But it's also nice to see my friends at the Embassy of Cuba. Because Guillermo was very fond of Cuba. And though he said that even the Cuban beat was in every song he had, thank you for being here tonight. But to all of you, you made the effort, and we're very grateful. Thank you very much.